Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you know by now, I'm Kevin and this is Little Crafter Builds a Van. In today's episode we're going to install the wires, 12 volt as well as 220 volt. We're going to install insulation on the roof and on the sides, and I'm going to start with some framing. I know it's been a while since I uploaded. Last week I was not able to do it because it was really crappy weather and I still had to wait for parts to arrive, but we're back on track and let's go. Hey guys, so as you can see we're back. It's been a while since I had to wait for some Victron parts to arrive and some 220 volt cable to arrive as well. So last week I was not able to do so much. I as well got the approval that I can mount the max air fans myself, so that's kind of what I did now in the last week. So I didn't record this just because it was like figuring it out on the spot. But it's yeah, there's a lot of YouTube tutorials about it. It's just essentially measuring the inside of your fan and then creating a wooden template to go under it, and yeah, just mount it in place, cut a hole and screw it down, and then use Sikaflex to make it watertight around the edges, and as well cover the screws up themselves. It's wired already, like they recommended me for the front one to use a 4mm carat wire, since it's 5 meters long to the battery bank. And then in the back here as well you have another one. The second one is the same principle. This one fits in nice and snug between the ribs. You can do it yourself. The only thing that you need to be aware of is, of course, to not cut in these ribs, to stay clear of that. And then here in Belgium you just need to take pictures and you send it to the dealership, and they ask for the right approval papers for the homologation or the conformity, and yeah, that's about it. So okay guys, so what I'm doing now is I'm removing some panels in the interior cabin just to feed my wire from the rear view camera. I'm using these plastic pry bars. They're really come in handy. You don't want to use a screwdriver because otherwise you will damage the panels. So just I'm going to remove them and feed the wire to my head unit. The radio is still not arrived, but at least I can already lay the wire in preparation. So. So now we're going to start with insulation. It's glass wool insulation, so it's 5 centimeters thick, and I need around 10 centimeters of space to fill. So I'm going to just make sure the wires are still accessible and then stuff everything with the wool insulation where I can, and then we can start with the roof. If you install the insulation, make sure it's still fluffy and it's not compressed completely. That's how you get the best out of your insulation. So. Okay guys, time for an update. I did a little bit of more work. As you can see, I removed the bulkhead again just because I had to put a wire for the battery, for the starter battery. So as you can see, there's two wires there, a black one and a red one. They run under the seat, under the driver's seat, and then they wrap around, actually under the sliding door, and I had to make a small incision so the wires can go under the floor. And then if you come here, let's see if you can see this. You see they come out under the floor right there, and then they will run all along past the entrance. This is going to be covered anyway with the overhang, so you're not going to see that. And then they run all the way here, and they go into the van all the way to the back. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount some wooden beams on these supporting beams here on this side, just so I can start to insulate the roof itself. The beams are 27 by 44, which gives me just the height of these beams, so then I can just, if it's insulated, mount the roof just nice and flush, and this way I don't lose as much room in the end. So I've cut some wooden beams, 6 of them. They are 120 long, 120 centimeters long, and now I'm going to mount them on the roof. So as you can see, it's all along the roof. I did it in 3 pieces because the roof is slightly bending, so I couldn't put one straight piece, so I put it in 3. So now let's just wait until the stick of flex dries, and then we can screw it to the supporting beams. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the wires, which I used, which size, and what I'm using it for. So starting here on the bottom, we have a 12-volt wire. That's for that's 2.5 carats. That's for the ground. I'm going to put indirect lighting on the lower cabinet. Then we have another 12-volt that is just laying here already. That's for the Truma. I'm having a Truma Combi D6, so that's a diesel heater and a water heater in one. Then we have here the 220-volt. That's a big one, so that's going to be for one socket, because I'm going to need one socket for my leather bench. I'm going to have a heat stamp right in that corner, so for that I need a plug. So that's that. Here on the top I run some wires through the cabinet all the way to the radio itself. I still need to connect that when that unit is coming, but you saw that in the other part. So this is connected all the way through. Then if we come along here, we have here another 12-volt. That's for the kitchen, and that's going to go to a switch. So there's going to be small cabinets here on top as well. That's going to have under cabinet lighting as well, normally with a LED strip. Then here we come in the shower. So this will be a 12-volt. It's the same 2.5 carats wire. That's for the lighting, the LED in the shower. Down here I'm going to have this is the 12-volt for the extraction fan of the Nature Head toilet, the composting toilet. So I'm not going to put an extraction fan in the shower because I don't really think it's useful, and it's cutting another hole in the roof, and I don't really want to do that. I don't think it's so useful to have an extraction fan, because in the end you still need to wipe your shower down and you still need to dry it out. So we have a max air fan right here, so if it's really steamy you can just open the door from the shower and it can extract still like that. So that's why I don't have that. Then here we have power and switches for the LEDs in the roof. So are going to be these types of LEDs. There's 12 volts, and I'm going to put a switch in this upper cabinet as well. We're going to have 3 LEDs, so 1 in the entrance and then 2 more along the side here. Okay, here I'm just wiring some lights and I'm just putting them in parallel. So that just means connecting every positive with each other and every negative with each other. So if you flip the switch, all of the 3 pug lights will work, and if one ever breaks down, it's only one. You immediately know which one it is, because if you connect them in series, if one breaks, all of them are down, because they don't get any positive feed anymore. So here on the bottom we have another 220 volt wire, 3 carats. That's just another socket, and I'm going to use it for the charging the e-bikes. That's that. And then we have here on top an LED that's going to be LED for the LED strip for the bed. That's going to be normally here under the cabinets as well. Then there we have all the wires that arrive, so solar panel and the battery charger wires and all the rest. Normally the battery bank will be in that corner, but yeah, I still need to wait for some more cables to arrive, and that's going to be installed in the next video. So now I'm going to secure these beams with some screws in here, making sure not to touch any of the wires, and then I can slowly start to mount the insulation. I'm going to do, I'm going to stuff these ribs with some more glass wool insulation, and yeah, push the wires that are in the channels to one side and just make sure there's insulation in all the pieces. We need a can. Oh. What I'm going to do now is put this pure insulation on the top. It's 40 millimeters. I'm going to put it in the empty spaces, and then I will secure it with this type of sticking nails. You can stick it to the roof and then just attach a counterpiece to it and squeeze it up. Here I'm just cutting out a piece for the wire of the solar panels to mount in, so they don't touch or they don't rub on the roof itself. So I just cut a V shape, and then I'm going to cut it out and they can sit in flush. It's a little bit messy, but kind of what it is. So now, as you can see, this part is done. so the biggest pieces are in, all the way into the front, like this. I didn't put this piece yet because I'm still going to put the sliding door back in the end, so I'm waiting for that. And on the sides you can see I didn't go all the way into the end because it's running concave a little bit, so I'm going to stuff this with some more of this insulation, and then we should be good to go. Guys, for the edges I'm going to add this piece. It's 10 centimeters wide and 12 millimeters thick, and I'm going to put it on this side edges here, so the supports will go from the roof and they will curve nicely and then go along this side of the wall. So tomorrow I'm going to get some more insulation to stuff here between the gaps, and then finish up the boards. And then normally my idea is to get 6mm plywood, because I don't want to work with the tongue and groove boards, because kind of I used that in previous builds, and I notice in a van you get hot and cold very fast, so the boards tend to bend, and you, after let's say a year or 2 years, you can get a gap, and kind of I rather use full sheets of wood, so I'm going to get plywood, normally 6mm, because it's a little bit bendable, and then yeah, I can just screw it to the top, to the roof. Okay guys, so I've installed the wooden battens on the side of the van, all along the sides and as well on the bottom. And now what I can do is I'm going to stuff the top layers a little bit more with insulation, with the glass wool insulation, so everything is really covered, and then I can start using that bubble wrap that's laying right there, the aluminium bubble wrap. I can create a vapor barrier on the roof itself. The only thing I need to do as well is cut some holes for the lights, because I have 3 puck lights in the front, and then tape everything down with aluminium tape, and then put up the bubble wrap. So let's do that. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to paint the sliding door, and it's multiplex, so I don't really want to keep it as a flat surface. And kinda I was thinking, I do like the shiplap wooden pieces, but since they're separate pieces, that's the thing I don't really like about it. So what I'm going to do with the multiplex, I'm going to take a router and have a triangle shaped router bit in it, and set it to a certain depth, and just make those lines in the multiplex itself, so it has a nice detail. I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't look too promising. Better get going.